They're gonna need a patsy, a scapegoat, if you will. And I think it's gonna be Jennifer McCabe. And not that I don't think it's entirely deserved, but I think that little gal has put herself way too far out there, and there's gonna come a time where they cut her loose. I've been jonesing to make this video for about a week now because something in the back of my brain was telling me, I think this is gonna take an interesting turn. We got to see a few of the defense witnesses today, and I didn't watch the testimonies yet, but I did see a little bit of snippet of this guy, Richard Green, who's a cellular forensics guy. And of course, he confirmed all of the stuff we thought all along was true, that Jen McCabe did Google Haas Long to die in the cold at 2:27 a.m. And then those things that were like butt dials or those accidental deletions, he's like, nope, 100% human manufactured. She actually intentionally deleted all of the information, all the calls, all the texts, everything in her phone for about a 12-hour period. Even the stuff that wouldn't matter, like a phone call to her husband or the stuff she could explain away, she still deleted it all anyway. Now, if you're like me, you're feeling really good about Karen's chances right now. I think there is plenty of probable cause, and I think she's going to be found not guilty. And I think at some point she's going to decide to come back and sue either the Commonwealth or somebody else. She's going to do a civil suit. And so this is going to keep going for a while. We also had from the beginning, Jackson and Yannetti have been doing this like third-party culprit defense, right? Which they had to get special permission from Auntie Bev to do that. That's not a normal defense tactic. They had to, from the beginning, say, we want to point the finger at other people because we think there's some dirty fuckers in this town. Plus, let's remember, we now have the feds snooping around. So the plan to put Karen in jail goes south. They've all been embarrassed on the stand. Yannetti and Jackson have made the entire world look at this little friend group and go, you dirty little fuckers have done something. And you're probably like me wondering how long before it all falls apart. And I don't think this is a situation where one person races to get immunity and they rat everybody else out. I don't think, unless it's Higgins, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to need a patsy, and they're going to need the most convenient, obvious patsy, so it doesn't seem like they're intentionally blaming someone. It's just really easy to sit back and go, that is really weird that Jen was deleting her calls, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Jen that was strange that Jen was doing that. She's made herself an easy fucking target. Just think through this for a minute. Wasn't it Jen that was at the waterfall trying to separate Karen and John and get them into separate cars? Wasn't it Jen that had an absolute hard-on for getting John to that party? Where are you? What's going on? Where are you? Hello? Park behind me. Hello? She wanted him there. Seems strange that Jen would keep going to the door to look for him because she wanted him there so badly. And she claims she saw Karen pull up and keep moving further and further down the street, but never makes mention of the big Ford F-150 truck that was driven by Ryan Nagel's friend or Higgins' Jeep being in the street as well. Karen had no other option but to park down by the flagpole because two other big, huge vehicles in the street. Never made mention of that. That seems a little suspicious. It was Jen McCabe that Googled Haas Long to die in the cold at 2:27 a.m. Nobody else was Googling that. That's weird behavior. Julie Albert originally said in her report to the investigators that Jen McCabe called her at 5 o'clock in the morning. In fact, that's how she, Julie Albert, found out John O'Keefe was dead, was in a call from Jen McCabe at 5 a.m. Wasn't it Jen that gave one story to the police early that morning and then called Sergeant Lank back to the house and said, I seem to have forgotten something. And when he came back, wasn't it Jen McCabe who changed her story and suddenly decided that maybe Karen was asking, do you think I hit him? Could I have hit him in the car? That's where that rumor first got started. It was Jen McCabe. And then wasn't it Jen McCabe that even boosted the story even more by going in front of the grand jury and intentionally changing the story to be, I hit him, I hit him. Very definitive. Yep, that was Jen McCabe. She did that. Wasn't it Jen McCabe that called Proctor 8 times between February 14th and March 29th? That's one time per week, and they talked for a total of 41 minutes. Now, I've known prosecutors to call a witness. That makes sense to me. But why would a witness be stalking the prosecutor? It seems a little strange that she was inserting herself that way, trying to learn so much about the case. Jen McCabe's also the only one that ever asked Julie Nagel for screenshots of the text that night between her and her brother, because that would tell the story of what time Ryan Nagel got to the house, which is the exact same time Karen Reed arrived at the house, and what time they left. So that would give a little bit of credence to the timeline. So she asked Julie Nagel for her text messages. Wasn't it Jen McCabe who showed up at Sergeant Lank's house to befriend his wife? Wasn't it Jen McCabe who suddenly became friends with Proctor's wife? I am telling you, she has put herself, thought she was being the good mama bear. She's put herself too far out there. All they have to do is kind of play stupid and let the feds sort of recall all the things that Jen McCabe did in that first 12 hours and then proceeded to do for the next year during the investigation. All they have to do is just sit back and go, yeah, that's some really strange behavior, right? They're gonna make her the scapegoat, and I think she deserves every last bit of it. Reap the whirlwind, Jen McCabe.